From the Honourable Leader of the third party.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Work continues on Phase 2 of the $65 million Cornwall bypass. Last year, a very public, and for government a very humiliating, Supreme Court case over a dispute regarding expropriation played out in court, with the final decision awarding the landowner an additional $295,000. And on top of that, expenses, legal, appraisal, accounting, things like that, which was an additional cost to taxpayers. In her decision, Judge Matheson said many things, including criticising the province's appraiser and pointing out that he had not taken into account some critical factors in his work. A question for the Minister of Transportation, Infrastructure and Energy. Is there any other land expropriated by the province for the completion of the Cornwall bypass that is currently under dispute?
The Honourable Minister of Transportation, Infrastructure and Energy and the Status of Women.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as part of this particular project, and Mr. Speaker, I might add that this is a project that is a continuation of projects that have started back in the 90s, that prior to that was running right through the middle of Charlottetown, the road. And Mr. Speaker, there's 24,000 cars go through that particular area of Cornwall. We have over 25 properties that we have been working with property owners throughout the process. Most of those are finalized now, and we are continuing those discussions with landowners.
Thank you, Minister. The Honourable Leader of the third party, your first supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Judge Matheson chastised the provincial appraiser for not taking into account the fact that expropriation is not a negotiation between a willing buyer and a willing seller, and that the landowners are having their property forcibly taken from them with little leeway to negotiate compensation. Minister, is the province using the same appraiser in the current disputes who was criticised so heavily by Judge Matheson?
The Honourable Minister of Transportation, Infrastructure and Energy and the Status of Women.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as I noted, there's a total of 32 properties in all, 7 of which were previously owned by the government. 25 are being acquired. 12 of those have been acquired. 11 of those have been negotiated, and 2 of those have been under negotiation and are yet to be completed.
Minister. The Honourable Leader of the third party, your second supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So we've established that indeed there are properties under dispute, and I think it's safe to say that the province is using the same appraiser who was criticised so heavily. Judge Matheson also urged the province to amend the Expropriation Act to bring it into line with the rest of the country, where compensation related to expropriation is calculated based on fair market value rather than, as our Act states, it due compensation. Minister, with several potential cases before us, has this crucial update been done to our Act?
The Honourable Minister of Transportation, Infrastructure and Energy and the Status of Women.
Mr. Speaker, within our particular department, we have a policy on how we deal with landowners, and I think I want to be clear. There's a difference between negotiations and disputes. And when I want to be clear that we have negotiated 11 properties, we've already acquired 12, and we are at present negotiating with 2 property owners, and that will soon be complete.
Thank you, Minister.